I should title this World War Three as like a little clickbait thing, you know? So we have a lot of fun stuff. Welcome to the Forbidden Land podcast. Got some fun things to do. I'm going to take a political typology quiz. I'm going to talk about a lot of political stuff. I'm going to talk about this scary post on the Uber subreddit. And we're going to talk about World War Three. Oh man, I literally wrote down start the episode with my face in my hands. No, I was under a whole different attitude before today when I was writing up the list for this episode. JD Vance has been having a hell of a fucking week. And really a hell of a 3 months. I mean, he went from being a nobody senator from Ohio to being the most clowned on, made fun of people in politics because he was picked as the VP, and he is somehow a bigger clown than Trump. No one media trained him, dude. No one fucking media trained him. It's so funny to look at. So he keeps flubbing in his speeches. He said, talking about Kamala Harris and the Laura, I assume it's in reference to the Laura Loomer tweet, which we'll get to that too. He said, let me pull it up on TikTok. All right.
I don't think that this is actually an issue of national import. Is Laura Loomer running for president? No. Kamala Harris is running for president, and whether you're eating curry at your dinner table or fried chicken, things have gotten more expensive thanks to her policies. Let's talk about the person running for president of the United States, not a social media personality who supports Donald Trump.
Oh. Why would he say that, man? Why? Like, curry is referenced directly from the Laura Loomer tweet, and we'll pull up that tweet. Laura Loomer curry tweet. But, like, then the alternative being whether you eat curry or fried chicken. Why would you say fried chicken, man? Oh my god. Ooh, so that's the first one in a long line of flubs. Where's the tweet, man? Y'all suck at writing articles. The press. That's what I think about the press. Laura Loomer said if Kamala Harris wins, the White House will smell like curry and speeches will be facilitated via a call center, and the American people will only be able to convey their feedback through a customer satisfaction survey at the end of the call that nobody will understand. And this is Marjorie Taylor Greene calling her racist. If you're wondering who Laura Loomer is the one who prepped Donald Trump for the debate. And I believe I mentioned that last week. Or I might have not, but like that's where the dogs and cats thing comes from. And so that's JD Vance trying to distance the campaign from that disgusting fucking tweet. And he also went on record saying that he made up the Haitian migrant story. Now, one might think like, oh, you know, who cares? It's just this is a big deal because this story has unraveled a lot since last week when I last talked about it. When I last talked about it, all it boiled down to, I think I told the story that my mom's neighbor or not my mom's neighbor, my mom's client's neighbor called the client and was like, "Why is there a Haitian migrant in your yard?" And the neighbor was like trying to talk to him, and he wouldn't respond because he was deaf. And the client was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Like what?" And I had to ask my mom, "What the fuck is that even about?" And then it led to Trump being like, "They're eating dogs, they're eating cats." That has spiraled into someone photographing a guy carrying geese that were hit by a car, um, and they called him a Haitian migrant going to go and eat those geese. And then it turned out it was just a black guy who's not of Haitian descent who was carrying geese that were hit by a car, according to a wildlife foundation or some kind of animal shelter confirmed it. And then the woman who made the original claim about the Haitian migrant eating her cat said that it wasn't true and that she misspoke, apparently, even though very obviously she was just making a horrible racist assumption about her neighbor. And apparently the cat was in her basement the whole time. And then, yeah, so JD Vance goes on CNN and walks it back with Dana Bash. Why do I not have this clip linked? Because this one's nuts. Thank God you can search in bookmarks now. That's like the only good feature that fucking Twitter has implemented. Oh, God. Not like it even matters. It's not in my bookmarks. So yeah, he had to walk it back, and it's super embarrassing. I'm gonna go crazy. Where is the clip? I'm bugging. I'm bugging. How often am I bookmarking stuff, bro? Do I have that one on the list? Oh, dude, I have so much stuff to add that I haven't even added. So he goes on Dana Bash on CNN, and he has to admit that he made the whole thing up to garner attention towards Ohio, I guess was his justification. And what if I just never? I can't even say that on here. It's nowhere in my bookmarks. I know I bookmarked it. God damn it!
Be here to talk about policy, but if you're going to interrupt me every single time that I open my mouth, if I have to,
but it wasn't just a meme.
Create stories.
Oh my God! Just give me the clip.
Kamala Harris opened the border, and now,
Just once and for all, you again started this in part by saying that, at which Donald Trump repeated.
the American media totally ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to,
But it
if
wasn't
I have
just
to
a meme,
create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana, because you guys are completely letting Kamala Harris coast. You had one interview with her. You talk about pushing back against me, Dana. You didn't push back against the fact that she cast the deciding vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which is why a lot of Americans can't afford food and housing.
You just said
we
that
ought
you're
to be
creating
talking
a
about
story.
public policy.
Sir, you just said that you're creating the story.
What's that, Dana?
You just said that this is a story that you
Yes.
created. So the eating dogs and cats thing is not
we are
accurate.
creating Dana. It comes from firsthand accounts from my constituents. I say that we're creating a story, meaning we're creating the American media focusing on it. I didn't create 20,000 illegal migrants coming into Springfield thanks to Kamala Harris's policies. Her policies did that, but yes, we created the actual focus that allowed the American media to talk about this story and the suffering caused by Kamala Harris's policies.
Do you
There he is, admitting that
on the debates
admitting that the Haitian migrant story is completely made up. And yeah, this is a huge disaster. JD Vance does not look good. He then went on to make a speech shortly after the second assassination attempt. And this is what he says.
And Kamala Harris has been chaos all over the world. She can't answer a single question without sounding like a whatever. And she's had this, and Kamala.
What does that even mean, dude? Just say the N-word. Literally just say the N-word. Like, we know what you're trying to say. Dude, they're so close. God, they're so close to dropping the N-word. Oh my God, it is over for the Republican Party if they just drop the N-word in a speech. Say it. Dude, they're getting close, and I have evidence to show that they're getting close. Listen to this motherfucker from the National Reviewer, or the National Review, sorry. Drop the N-word in a Megyn Kelly interview.
I think it was in that interview where Dana Bash says, the police have gone through 11 months of recordings of calls, and they've only found 2 Springfield residents calling to complain about Haitian migrants taking geese from ponds.
How do you even? I mean, dude, you can't have a slip up like this unless you say the N-word regularly. Be so real. Come on.
Only 2 calls of recordings of calls, and they've only found 2 Springfield residents calling to complain about Haitian
Dude, he literally says the N-word with a hard R and stops himself right on the R to say migrant. The N-word and the word migrant don't even sound the same. They're not even near each other. Like, Oh, this person brought up that Megyn Kelly completely ignores this, by the way. Someone said in her defense she might not have noticed. She probably hears it a ton from her friends, family, and coworkers. Just desensitized to it now. Yeah, the guy that wrote the article, yes, fight anti-white racism. National Review. Ay, ay, ay. Someone said it sounds like he's saying the N-word with an M instead of an N. Here's somebody slowing it down to 0.5 speed to just prove the point that he is indeed saying the N-word.
Recordings of calls, and they've only found 2 Springfield residents calling to complain about Haitian migrants taking.
He definitely said the N-word. Come on. When are we going to stop playing this little game? When are we going to stop playing here? Oh boy, what are the community notes on this one? All the community notes are just speculation about whether he actually said the N-word or not. Dude, he said the N-word. Be so fucking serious right now. What did this person say? Flagrant hard R. Flag on the play. I've listened to this clip 6 times and I've come to the conclusion that the speaker did indeed catch himself saying the N-word. If you heard the clip differently, take your opinion to the comments. This is not Warren a community note. Thank you. He said the N-word. Please, guys, he didn't misspeak. He didn't mispronounce the word migrant. Be so for real. Oh, God, dude. I love it when people are so stupid. Just let one white guy take a fall. Why do y'all have to come to the defense of every white guy that says the N-word? Just let one of them go. Come on, man. Y'all can't cast one of them into the fire. One of y'all's white guys says the N-word. You can't just go, you know what? I don't want to defend that guy. You can't just have one exception every now and then. You gotta ride or die for all of them. Give some of them up. So speaking of white people dying, that might be a risky transition. A guy tried to kill Trump again, apparently. He I don't know, got near a golf course with an AK, from what I've heard. That could be wrong. But his name is Ryan Roth. He is quite an interesting fella. He's interesting looking. He voted for Trump. He supported the Vivek Nikki Haley ticket during the primaries. He's a Republican. He also donated to a couple Democrats like Beto O'Rourke and Elizabeth Warren, apparently. Bit of an interesting fella. But that's 2 for 2. I mean, come on now. 2 Republicans. One being like a super conservative young adult who was like a huge gun enthusiast, who was like pretty keen on supporting Trump. Or maybe not Trump, just supporting the Republicans. He registered as a Republican for the midterm election. And now we have this older guy who's like a big NATO guy, big Vivek and Haley guy. Interesting crowd, man. And then Elon Musk goes, why haven't they... I can't say without it being on the screen. Elon Musk goes, and why is no one even trying to assassinate Biden and Kamala? Or sorry, Kamala. My bad. I got Marvel on the mind right now. Why is no one even trying to assassinate Biden and Kamala? Oh, to conservatives be normal challenge. Impossible difficulty. And then he deleted it, by the way. Saying, well, one lesson I've learned is that just because I say something to a group and they laugh doesn't mean it's going to be all that hilarious as a post on X. Sick. Someone said this is the group. Yeah. I don't know, man. Oh god, I'm so disoriented. So, before I move on, actually this one will transition well. An honorable mention is I wanted to watch this clip of Joe Rogan glazing Kamala Harris. Shocking, by the way. And that'll transition into me talking about Republicans endorsing Kamala Harris.
Let me tell you, before I say anything, I just want to say, whoever's helping her, whoever's coaching her, whoever's the puppet master running the strings,
Yeah.
you did a fucking amazing job.
She did a great job.
They did an amazing job from the moment Biden drops out, forcing Biden to drop out. Right, whatever they're doing, whoever's writing those speeches, getting her to deliver them, coaching her, she's nailing it. She nailed that one speech. She's like, "Say it to my face."
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's cheering.
Yeah, she nailed it, dude.
And then last night, to me, when I was like, "Oh my God, this is jujitsu," where she was like, "If you go to his rallies, his crowds are boring. They're tired.
They're
they
all
all
leaving
leave
early.
My crowds are the best crowds.
Oh,
I have
yeah.
the number one
Yeah.
crowd." He couldn't help himself.
And she got him. She baited him on that. She walked him right into it.
100%. 100%. See, the difference in that debate was not a difference in like who's going to have better policies, who's going to be better for the country. The difference in the debate, in my opinion, was who was better prepared. She was way better prepared.
Yeah.
And even when it came to answering tough questions, instead of answering, she would just say things that she believes.
Yeah, sure.
And they sounded real good.
Yeah,
and that's the soundbite.
That's called being a savvy politician.
It's also called being someone who's working with a team versus someone who's like,
I don't need
they
fucking-
said Trump, that deal was the best deal. They've never seen a deal like this before. They said, how did you put that deal together?
People thought that was just brilliant. Yeah, I know. He was like,
That's he's not working with a team that's like, I mean, I know he's doing like mock debates. I know he did one with, I think he did one with Tulsi Gabbard, but someone needs to like tell him like you've got these tiny little windows and you should have all the words ready for those windows.
He started
there should be
out-
no repeating things.
yeah, he started out.
God, dude, I never would I have seen a day where Joe Rogan says something correct. What's up, guys? Did you know we have a Patreon channel? If you want to go over to patreon.com/forbiddenlandpod, you can support this podcast. For $1 a month, you can simply just send me $1. For $3 a month, not only are you sending me $3 for support, you also get your own Discord channel and your own role on the Discord. And if you send me $10 a month with a 7-day free trial included in that, you get all of my bonus content, including your own feed that includes these episodes and the bonus episodes. So if you want to hear my thoughts that I don't usually say on the public episodes, including a more just chill kind of episode in general, you can pay $10 a month and get those episodes. There's also a $15 tier with a 7-day free trial that is just sending me an extra $5 if you're feeling like you want to send me an extra $5. It's the same as the $10 tier. And there's a $100 tier. That's the same thing. If you want to send me $100 to support the project, go for it. It has the same benefits of the other tiers. So go on over to patreon.com/forbiddenlandpod and get some bonus content or a Discord channel or both. Back to the episode. Okay, chill out. Someone said that's not the flex you think it is. He's saying it's all an act. Oh, this guy loves NFTs. Okay, yeah, I don't care about this guy. Yeah, that's the whole point. Dude, politics is always just who can look the most normal. It's all an act. Which, like, by the way, so Dick Cheney endorsed Kamala Harris. Dude, who cares? Who is that convincing? Dick Cheney? Who gives a fuck? Oh my god. Oh, dude, who cares? Who cares if Dick Cheney supports Kamala Harris? If George Bush endorsed Kamala Harris, I don't think that would change anything. It might sway a few moderate Republicans, but like, be real. You know how unpopular Bush was when he left office? People now look back at the Bush administration. They blame Dick Cheney and Bush for the invasion of Iraq, for the invasion of Afghanistan, for the trillions we burned into the deficit for those forever wars. They blame them for the housing crisis. They blame them for the economic crisis, the recession. All of this. And yeah, I don't think this endorsement will change much. Yeah. I also wrote down this doesn't capture the vote of the progressive wing of the party. Wow, thanks, Pastain. That's totally not fucking obvious. Of course it's not going to capture the vote of the progressive wing of the party. That doesn't make me feel good. My God. Yeah. Halliburton said vote for Kamala Harris. Yes, please. She's got my vote. I love Halliburton. Raytheon supports Kamala Harris. Shit, dog. I wasn't going to vote for her before, but now that you say it like that, I'm going to missile my vote into that ballot box. God, dude. What a non-thing to, promote. It's the fact that she keeps promoting it. Like, she keeps saying, like, 200 Republicans have endorsed me. And it's like, okay, every failed Republican candidate, if John McCain were alive still, he'd probably endorse Kamala Harris. Mitt Romney has, I think, shown some support for Kamala Harris. Dick Cheney, waiting on that Bush endorsement. The Reagan administration team has started endorsing her, even making the bold claim that Reagan would have endorsed her. No, he would have. Read my lips. No, he wouldn't have. There is no way in hell Reagan would have endorsed Harris. Trump is the spitting image of Ronald Reagan. Trump's campaign slogan is Reagan's with one extra word. They have the same policies, the same agenda, the same economics. Dude, he would have endorsed Trump. Be real. If Reagan was still alive, Dick Cheney would not be opening his goddamn fucking mouth. Reagan's one of the most popular presidents in the last 60 years. There's no way if he was still alive, the Republicans would be even remotely opening their mouths in support of Kamala Harris. The only state Trump wouldn't win guarantees is Minnesota. So speaking of Laura Loomer, the one that I said tweeted out the shit that the White House smelled like curry or whatever she said. She debate prepped Donald Trump, and she's been hanging out with Trump a lot. She's been seen at Mar-a-Lago a lot. Reportedly, Melania Trump has been staying in New York because she's called Florida, quote, a swamp. And so she just doesn't want to go to Mar-a-Lago. And Laura Loomer's been spending a lot of time with him. He called her beautiful during a rally. He's been pictured at the golf courses and whatnot with his arm around her waist. And according to sources, Laura Loomer is telling our mutual friends that her, quote, intimate relationship, end quote, with the president led to the best blowjob of his life. His words, according to Laura. Yum. Dude, wasn't there a president that literally got impeached over a blowjob? Yeah, I know. It was over violating lying. He violated the law that says you can't lie under oath. Yeah. But yeah, my God, she'll be the Nancy to his Reagan. If I was fucking Trump, you wouldn't be able to torture that info out of me. Yeah. Dude, she's sucking and fucking him. I'm glad he found his new blonde lady. And she's American this time. Yeah, now he can't now you can't use that talking point against him anymore of oh, you want to deport immigrants? What about your partners? We have an American in the house, boys. From reports that I've heard, she's the same person that started an ISIS fan club at her college to bait liberals. She was like, I want to bait liberals into joining the ISIS fan club to see how many liberals would join. And then no one joined, and then the school expelled her for starting an ISIS fan club. That's what I've read about her. She's an interesting character. She's friends with Nick Fuentes. Interesting shit. Can't believe we got somebody sucking at fucking Trump. Ugh. Dude, Trump looks so gross too. All right, let's take this political quiz. Whoa. Stop the race. I forgot to talk about this. Israel blew up a bunch of pagers in Lebanon. And that has resulted in the death of, last time I looked, 10 people. I believe 2 of which were children the last time I read the reports. That information could be changed. It could be updated. But it killed 2 children last I read. And injured thousands. Like a couple thousand plus. And apparently an Iranian ambassador was injured. And that's interesting. So tensions between Iran and Israel are very high right now. And it sounds like Israel expects the U.S. to protect Israel from Iran whilst they invade southern Lebanon. So listen to this, right? It's like that entitled bratty bitch kid. Dude, it's like they just picked a fight with the rich family's kid. I don't even know a good analogy to spend for this. They attacked Lebanon. They injured an Iranian ambassador. This is like the 8th time that they've provoked Iran in the last year. And now they're like, please, Big Daddy US, can you protect us from Iran while we go and fuck up Lebanon for the upteenth time? I'm sorry? Dude, Kamala Harris can kiss the election goodbye if the US stands by Israel during an Iranian invasion, dragging us into yet another war in the Middle East, a war with Iran of which would be far more devastating than invading Afghanistan or Iraq. We should not be going to war with Iran. This is crazy talk. This is insane. I've seen people on my side of the spectrum calling for Biden's impeachment or calling for him to finally sever ties with Israel. Germany just cut off their weapons supply line to Israel, apparently. I would not be surprised if the people in Israel turned against Netanyahu, because they tend to start caring once it seems that war is imminent and that they are in direct danger. They're starting a multi-front war. They've attacked Lebanon. They've been missile struck by Yemen recently, where Yemen was able to launch a missile across Saudi Arabia all the way into Israel Yemen was able to launch a missile all the way to Israel, hit a city in Israel. It got past their defenses. There's no way the citizens there are not going to want Netanyahu to step down. There's no way. The Israelis have never been in more danger than they are right now. This is why I keep saying, like, you know, you could make the argument that the Jews are in more danger now than they have been since World War II. Like, this is crazy now. Like, they've started a conflict in Gaza, so now they have, while they're bombing civilians indiscriminately in Gaza, they now have Hamas to worry about occasionally. The every few month attack that Hamas decides to do, with the hostage crisis going on. And the civilians there are upset about the hostages being bombed as collateral damage, and are upset, rightfully so, that the Israeli government seems to just not care about the hostages. Then they're also starting shit with Lebanon. They're in a conflict with Yemen. They've now yet again provoked Iran by injuring their ambassador in Lebanon during this pager attack. So now they're risking another invasion from Iran, who has already fired a warning shot at them like a few months ago. I think I talked about this. There's no way. Dude, the U.S. needs to pull out now. Israel is too much of a liability for the U.S. Like they already were before. Israel's been a liability to the U.S. for decades, but they have cranked the dial past the limit now. It's like if NATO just randomly decided, hey, all of NATO, let's go to war with Russia. Like, I'm sorry, like, as the U.S., I'd be like, hell no. An unprovoked invasion of Russia right now, out of the blue. Like, I get that they're invading Ukraine, but we should just keep aiding Ukraine. If NATO just randomly decided we're going to go on to full out war and declare it on Russia, I'd be like, nah, dude. Isolationism, man. Come on. We do not need to be involved in any of this. But that's been my position forever now, that we should be an isolationist country that does like outreach to poor developing nations. I know, crazy concept, crazy leftist communist ideal. That's my view of what the U.S. should be. It should be an asylum hub for refugees, and it should be an outreach country that supports developing nations in need. Crazy concept. That's my ideal America. But yeah, no, I think Israel is going to lead to their own world war in that corner of the planet. So, and I think this will royally fuck Kamala Harris. Like, I think this will screw her chances to some extent. I was going to say it was going to royally fuck Biden, but he's not the one running anymore, is he? But, like, Biden is still inherently tied to Kamala Harris. And so anything he decides to do is going to negatively reflect on her campaign. And yeah. Oh yeah, the polls have been somewhat narrowing. By the way, I'm looking at the polls. I haven't checked them in a couple days. Yeah, it looks like the polls are starting to narrow a little bit. There are some polls showing her way ahead, which tend to be the polls with more people. Like this 11,000 likely voter poll. But, yeah. The registered voters polls show an even bigger gap, actually. That's interesting. course, the Fox News poll still shows her ahead, but I think it's within the margin of error. Anyways, yeah, I think we're seeing a pretty scary future for the region. It's like I said, man, dude, if like Egypt decided to get into the mix, because we already know that like there's a greater plan, right, amongst the most radical right wing Zionist in the Israeli government, where, and you've seen it before, and I've mentioned it on Forbidden FM with John, where some IDF soldiers will wear the patch where it says Greater Israel in Hebrew, and it'll have this like map of a country on there that is basically the idea of a Greater Israel, where they would conquer surrounding areas. And I believe one of the areas they want to take is the Sinai Peninsula, a piece of land they had to give up because the way that they took it from Egypt violated certain clauses in a UN resolution. So the UN forced Israel to give it back to Egypt. And so, I mean, if Israel wants to go all out, take back the Sinai Peninsula, attack the other Rafah, and then now we'll have Egypt, Iran, Yemen, Lebanon, and Hamas in the Gaza Strip. All of them. Multi-front war. Go ahead. Go ahead, idiots. I mean, my God. You know, the only... Israel is like, well, the U.S. gets to do it. You know why the U.S. gets away with this kind of stuff? One, we're the most powerful nation on the earth, on the planet at this point. We have a shitload of nukes. That's why we don't really provoke the countries that do have nukes as well. We're the richest nation on the planet, allegedly. And also, we have 2 giant oceans surrounding us. It takes other countries too long to get here. Every time North Korea goes, we have a missile that'll reach the U.S., California at least. It's like, good luck. You know how big the Pacific Ocean is? That's the whole reason why we get away with half the shit that we get away with. So. Anyways, let's take this political quiz. Yeah, the tweet I got all that from is, or one of the tweets I did see about this is, Israel is counting on the Americans to block further escalation if it does invade southern Lebanon. Diplomatic sources tell this journalist, Ben Caspit. U.S. envoy has warned that an Israeli offensive risks leading to war with Iran. Awesome. All right, let's take this quiz. Political typology quiz from the Pew Research Center. You had to choose, would you rather have a bigger government? Would you say you favor a bigger government providing more services? Or when you say that, do you think it would be better to modestly expand our current government services, greatly expand our current government services? Greatly. Next. Which of the following statements come closest to your view? America's openness to people from all over the world is essential to who we are as a nation. If America is too open to people from all over the world, we risk losing our identity as a nation. The top one. This one is a racist dog whistle. The U.S. should be... I think the term is outdated, but when I was growing up, they used to... In like... Schoolhouse Rock and stuff like that, they used to be like, oh, America's a melting pot, you know. I believe that term is considered racist now, but that's how I've always viewed it, is that people from all over the world, of all different cultures, of all different ethnicities, can come to America freely and seek asylum if they need to. That's how America was always pitched to me as a kid, and it's why it's so like, it's why I get hit with so much whiplash when I see people being like, we don't want any more immigrants here. It's like most of the country are descendants of immigrants. So it's kind of unfair to come here and then later on down the generational line, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, 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 hold on. Not those immigrants. Oh, but my immigrants were fine. But y'all's? Like, come on now. In general, would you say experts who study a subject for many years are usually better at making good policy decisions about the subject than other people? I'd say they're generally better at it. Thinking about increased trade of goods and services between the U.S. and other nations in recent decades, would you say that the U.S. has gained more than it has lost because increased trade has helped lower prices and increase competitiveness of some U.S. businesses? Lost more than it has gained because increased trade has cost jobs in manufacturing and other industries and lowered wages for some U.S. workers. I say probably the bottom one. How much more, if anything, needs to be done to ensure equal rights for all Americans, regardless of their racial and ethnic backgrounds? A lot. Which comes closer to your view about what needs to be done to ensure equal rights for all Americans, regardless of their race and ethnic backgrounds, even if neither is exactly right? Most U.S. laws and major institutions need to be completely rebuilt because they are fundamentally biased against others. No. Which of the following statements comes closest to your views? Business corporations make too much profit. Yes. This is not even... This bottom one? Dude, fuck that. Dude, the same business is going, we can't afford to pay our workers a livable wage above like $8 an hour. Those same corporations then turn around and submit their yearly report for their profit, and they made like 1.6 billion in profits. And it's like, you can't take a chunk of that and disperse it to your workforce. Come on. So yes, they make way too much profit. Start turning some of that profit into your fucking operational costs. My God, lower your profit margins, man. Reinvest it into the company, into your workers. Ugh. Anyway, how much, if at all, would it bother you to regularly hear people speak a language other than English? How much, if at all, would it bother me? Not at all. I worked with Hispanic people for 6 years, and I live in an area with a lot of Hispanic people in it, and a lot of East Asian people in it too. I've heard a lot of Korean over my time. I've heard a lot of Vietnamese. I actually had a Vietnamese friend that I would play video games with a lot, and I would hear him speak to his family a lot when we were on calls. He's actually been in a lot of my YouTube videos in the early years. Like I just said, for 6 years, I heard probably more Spanish than I heard English in the environment that I worked in. Like I said, this does not bother me even in the slightest. So, in fact, I actually do know how to speak a little bit of Spanish and understand and read a decent amount of Spanish because of my time working with a lot of people that spoke Spanish and living around people that speak Spanish. So, my girlfriend's best friend speaks Spanish as her primary language. So, like I said, if this bothers you, you're probably a white supremacist. On a scale of 0 to 100, where 0 means you feel as cold and negative as possible, and 100 means you feel warm and positive, how do you feel toward the Democrats and the Republicans? I feel nothing but apathy and disgust for the Republican Party. For the people who vote Republican, I actually feel a lot of pity for, because I feel like a lot of people get duped into being a Republican, and a lot of them vote against their interests, and that's not totally their fault. They obviously take a lot of responsibility for it and a lot of the blame, but it's not completely their fault. But I'm going to assume this question's talking about the parties, not the constituents. I'm plugging in my AirPods to charge. How do I feel about the Democrats? I'm at like a solid 50. I'm a bit in the middle on them. I hate a lot of Democrats because they are just Republicans who have registered Democrat. There are a couple Democrats where I'm like, y'all are fine. Y'all are chill. Other times it's like there are those fence sitter Democrats that I'm like, why are you even in politics? It just seems like you're just here to collect a donor check. They're a mixed bag. There's so much more they could do. So much potential being wasted and left on the table in the Democratic Party. That number probably should have been lower, but I'm trying to be charitable here. Which of these statements best describes your opinion about the United States? I'm going to say that one. Canada. Canada is a solid alternative to the US. Maybe not Australia. I know too much about Australia has good gun policy. I know too much about the impoverished communities there that make them like arguably worse than a lot of places in the US. I would say Canada is a solid one. It's like the US if it was better. It's pretty good. And look, controversial take. Quebec. This is going to be the nicest thing I ever say about the French. So you better take it in while I say it. Because I do not have many nice things to say about the French Quebecois. But you know what? The fact that Quebec can't even exist, good on them. It'd be like if New Mexico was mostly just Mexicans and Spanish speakers. And if the U.S. was required to have every government official make statements in English and Spanish, and most of our officials can also speak Spanish as well as English, like that would be that's what Canada is. They speak French, they speak English, they've got Quebec, they've got their own dedicated French province. We don't have a Spanish state. Not really, at least. Not like Quebec. So there you go. Canada, a better version of the U.S. This statement definitely rings true. They also have free healthcare, so big plus. They also don't have as many shootings as we do. Anyways, how much of a problem, if any, would you say each of the following are in the country today? People being too easily offended by things others say. That's not a problem. People saying things that are very offensive to others. That's a pretty major problem. I have heard racial slurs more than I've ever wanted to in my life. Anyways, which comes closer to your view of candidates for political office? Even if neither is exactly right. I usually feel like, there's always one, and they're always very low in the polls. There's always one person that reflects a decent amount of my views. Speaking of that, I actually have a funny story. There's somebody that went to school with me that throughout our entire time growing up would come to school dressed like this and would just be out and about like this all the time, always in a 3-piece button-up suit with the tie. Imagine what a politician wears and put that on a child, then put it on a teenager, then put it on who is now a young adult in his early 20s who was interned at the White House. I will not say who this person is, but mark my fucking words. If he ever ran for office, I'd primary the fuck out of him. Let me just say it right now. Look, I have talked about amongst my peers many times in private. Will I ever run for political office once I'm old enough? The earliest one I can run for is the House of Representatives. It's arguably the one I'd have the most chance of winning. And because, it's a district type of thing, people have a bit more personal thoughts about their district. And also, my politics are sound enough. I could probably run as a Democrat for the House of Representatives. I have said that I probably wouldn't do it. At least not that early in my life. That being said, I have 3 years left until I'm eligible for the House, and I believe this person has 4. So, after the 2028 election, the midterms in 2030 will be about the first time that I could run for the House at the same time this kid can. If he ever ran for political office, he'd probably run as a Democrat because he loves Barack Obama and he's been glazing the Biden administration the entire 4-year period. And he's a Kamala Harris supporter. If he ever ran for the Democrat ticket, I would primary him so fast. You would never see me file paperwork faster in my life. So in 2030, if you see me running for the House of Representatives, or even better, the Senate. I don't even know if I can run for the Senate at that point. I think the age limit for that is 30. If I'm running for the House of Representatives, you know why. And it's because that dude ran. I can't stand him. He is the epitome of what's wrong with the Democratic Party. He would be an establishment candidate. He would be fake as fuck. He'd hold every neoliberal value that I hate. There's no way that kid didn't grow up, read a textbook about what we did in Haiti, or what we did to Hawaii, or what we've done to literally any nation that we hold territorial control over. There's no way he's read any book on any of those topics and not gone, ugh, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. He will be the epitome of what's wrong with the Democratic Party. I foresee it. I predict it. If he ever ran for office, I would primary him immediately. And that is what I would like to say. Back to the quiz. Sorry, I couldn't find a better opportunity to bring that up. I was going to bring it up last week and it felt too unnatural because I just kind of shoehorned it into the document. What a perfect time to bring that up. He pops up all the time. He literally makes videos sitting at a desk that looks like a political office desk. In front of, the bookshelf, the big law desk that like lawyers sit at. All of it. He's been to the Oval Office multiple times. He makes like videos where he's like, guys, look, this is my announcement. Our country's in a tumultuous time. And it's like, oh my God. Live your life, dude. This is such a boring way to live your life. How are you going to run for office if you haven't even lived? How are you going to relate to the people that you're trying to represent if you've never even lived a similar life to what they have lived? You've never been a man of the people. You've literally been a propped up figure by your family. so you can be put into this position later in life. You've literally been groomed for your role as a politician. How are you going to run on issues and be relatable to the people if you've been a politician drone your whole life? Anyways, sorry. In general, how much do white people benefit from advantages in society that black people do not have? A great deal. Do you think greater social acceptance of people who are transgender, people who identify as a gender that is different from the sex they were assigned at birth, is very good for society? Thank you, folks. Where's my round of applause, my pat on the back for answering these questions the way that I think? Overall, would you say people who are convicted of crimes in this country serve... that's a very broad question. For some crimes, yes, they serve way too much time. For other crimes, like severe crimes, about the right amount. I don't think anyone ever serves too little time in prison. Unless they did something like particularly bad, but those are like the outliers. Like people that are locked up for like nonviolent drug offenses. You got like 15 years with no parole for that? Like, come on now. That's such a waste. That's such a waste of taxpayer money. That's such a waste of a human life to do that to them for something so minor. But I mean, that's how that law is designed, right? It's designed to weaponize it against people so you can lock them up and then use them as cheap or pretty much free labor. So I would say, if I'm going to answer the question overall, I would say they serve too much time. Which of the following statements comes closest to your view? Religion should be kept separate from government policies. Yep. In the future, do you think U.S. policies should try to keep it so America is the only military superpower? It would be acceptable if another country became as militarily powerful as the U.S. I hate this question. I mean, I guess this one, it's the lesser of the two evils between the two options. There should be a third option of no one should be a major military superpower. That would be more in line with my views. This is a bad question. It's funny that the last question on the quiz is a bad question. And I didn't really take issue with any of the previous questions. Other than like maybe the prison one just being a bit too broad. If that makes sense. I swear to God, I just saw something move behind me. Well, that was weird. Let's submit. Wait, what? No. Am I not going to get my results? Did you see the thing it just prompted me with? No. Why is it disabled? No, I'm never going to find out what my political affiliation is. That's so fucked up. What? Why? Is anyone else having that problem? No. Oh, I really wanted to know. I really wanted to know. I already know I would probably get progressive left. Like, I already know it. I already know what the answer to mine is going to say. I got this quiz from a Kamala Harris account that got an answer of a ambivalent right, which that's a crazy place to land on. Are you surprised not to be labeled as right wing? Thank you, Mike from PA. I think it's a bad survey set / questionnaire. Post your answers and let's have a discussion. This is as close as it comes to that, and when it comes to being serious, I gotta say that if you chose the first option, you're among the brainwashed. Thank you. This question sucks. Why would I want anyone to be... Exactly. Someone has the exact same opinion as me on that last question of why would I want anyone to be a military superpower. Thank you. I'm further left on what this poll even accounts for. That was my exact thought too. No country should even be near as militant and powerful as the U.S. is right now, including the U.S. defund the military. Yeah. This person is surprised that the Democrats are far right. Or not far right, but they're right wing. They're far right by global standards. They're just right. Like center right by American standards. Oh, God. Anyways. That Kamala account is going through the ringer. I can't believe it's not letting me submit my quiz. Why would it let me get through the whole test? And then not let me submit the quiz? Do they have any information on this? Pew Research Center. Give me that Twitter. They say anything about the political chart being disabled? No. Man, what the fuck? That sucks. I mean, yeah, I probably would be a little bit further left in the chart, but because I don't think the military is as important as people say it is. What is the SAVE Act? What is that? "158 House Democrats voted against requiring the deportation of illegal immigrants who assault women in the U.S." Okay. I doubt that's what the bill actually was. 14 Republicans also voted no on that bill, so I'm going to go ahead and assume that's not what the bill actually says, but MTG and Thomas Macy voted present, and 14 Republicans voted no. Awesome. As well as 158 House Democrats. And it's it would obviously never pass the Senate. What the fuck even is this about? Apparently the Republicans are also trying to shut down the government. Okay. So boring. God. Stunning announcement. Mike Johnson admits that Republicans may attempt to shut down the government ahead of the November election. Retweet to make sure all... shut up.
But to follow up on Manu's question, would you listen to Trump and let the government shut down I mean, this bill's not going to pass, likely. I mean, there's over 10 Republicans that have said they're going to vote against it. So, I mean, will you let the government shut down?
We'll see what happens with the bill. All right, we're on the field in the middle of the game. The quarterback's calling the play. We're going to run the play. I'm very confident. I know that all the Republicans believe in election security. We have some people who dislike CRs. You know what? I dislike continuing resolutions as well, right?
Dude, oh my god, he's such a fucking nerd loser bitch. I'm pretty sure, so the part of the bill is just about voting rights for illegal or undocumented migrants. They already can't vote in federal elections, ding dongs. Are you serious right now? Like, one place in New York wanted undocumented migrants to be able to vote in like local elections because they are not undocumented migrants. Non-citizen visa holders would have been allowed to vote in local elections due to the fact that they pay taxes and contribute to the economy. This would be people that have lived here for decades who are still not citizens, but they have legal status here. And that law got struck down by the New York courts. That's the only thing I've heard of in terms of anyone that's not a citizen being able to vote. Shocker. If you're not a citizen, you can't vote in federal elections. That's already illegal. Are they just trying to cram this into a budget bill? Is that why the government's going to shut down? That they're trying to cram it into a budget bill? That's usually why the government shuts down, is because they can't agree on a budget or on a spending bill. Meaning they can't fund the government anymore until they pass that spending bill. I assume that's what they're attempting. That's so stupid. So on the Uber drivers subreddit, someone posted this. I got suggested this, and it kind of freaked me out. They posted, my son is missing, and he took an Uber on 9/14/2024 at 10:47. 10:40. Oh, they meant to say 10:42 a.m. We got the bank confirmed Uber charge of $29.47 on September 14th, 2024. Please let me or the police know if you got him and where you dropped him off. He is 16 years old, left the house around 3 a.m. on September 14th, so he might get picked up somewhere away from the Vancouver location. We think he might use a fake name. Please look at the picture and let us know if you happen to be his driver. Vancouver police case. Here's the case number. Please call 311 to report a lead. Thank you so much. He's considered suicidal, and we need to find him quickly. That's really sad. That's horrifying, too. Wow. Yeah, that's horrifying. God. So there was an update on September 16th. I really appreciate everyone's comments and help. Any way to help us locate my son is greatly appreciated. So here is the new flyer sent out on Vancouver PD. The time he took Uber was around 4 a.m. Sorry, I won't be able to reply to each comment with limited time I have in between home and on the road and search for him. Here's the poster. Update on September 17th. We still have not received any new information regarding his whereabouts, though two notable developments have occurred. The Uber driver confirmed seeing Tristan walking home alone on the I-205 bridge. Unfortunately, the driver did not ask any further questions before driving away. Search and rescue team began their operation beneath the bridge, but as of now, have found no significant leads. They're hopeful that Tristan is somewhere in Oregon. in Oregon, possibly near Cascade Station. In the meantime, we've reached out to local boating, yachting, and sailing associations to request their assistance in remaining vigilant. Another update, he's still not home. There haven't been any updates from the police department, but water searches will continue through Friday. That's a horrifying situation, dude. Ugh, God. It makes me like ick when people go missing like that. Those are my least favorite. Not that I have a favorite crime, but those are the things I hate hearing about the most. That's an interesting story developing on my thing. Yeah, I hate hearing about missing people stories. And the circumstances around them going missing. And it always makes me feel vulnerable. Like, I'll hear about these stories, and I just go like, oh God, I'm in situations like that all the time. Ugh. And I get like gross. I get like grossed out. There's that story that I covered recently, the Blake Chappelle one, and I've been in that area that he was abducted in, and that's why that case. That's one of the reasons why that case kind of hits me in a different type of way, because it really does give me that eerie feeling of like, God, I really could just go missing. It sounds like this kid made himself go missing, and unfortunately and sadly, based on what the poster said, it seems like there's a very high likelihood that he jumped off that bridge. Obviously I don't know that. That's just speculation. It is possible that he's in Oregon, like the poster said. It's possible that he's still roaming somewhere and just hasn't revealed himself. That he's just on the run. But yeah, stories where people just disappear, they freak me out so much. 411 stories are the freakiest. The people that go to these national parks and then just disappear. Oh God. Ugh. I'm a big hiking guy, and I love going to national parks and stuff and going hiking. I frequent a lot of national parks in Alabama, for instance. Those are the freakiest. The Talladega National Forest freaks me out. Like, genuinely. It freaks me out. I always feel like I could just go missing. Like that. And I'm gone. Especially when you know the history of Talladega. And how it's more than likely cursed by the natives that used to inhabit the land before they were driven out to before they were driven out of the state, you know, driven away onto the Trail of Tears, and then some went down to Florida and became the Seminoles. Read up on the history of Talladega. The land is cursed. So Emperor Lemon has a good video on it. Rare mention of Imp Lemon, but I did enjoy that video. The one about the Talladega Speedway. That one's a good video. And it's structured in such a good way. God. 411 stories, man. Let's Read has good videos about 401 stories, and I think those are pretty good. He does the Let's Read podcast and has 411 specific episodes, I believe. So go listen to those. They just make me feel so uneasy. But yeah, so fun fact of the week. I've let this episode go on way too long. Fun fact of the episode. Did you know that we've had a president not born in the continental U.S.? What? Crazy, right? The first president to be born in a state not in the continental U.S. was President Barack Obama, who was born in the state of Hawaii. Despite this fact, though, he ran for president as a resident of Illinois. He's from Chicago, Illinois. That's where he was raised. And that's where he ran for office. He served in the state legislature and then became a senator of Illinois and then became the president, running as a resident of Illinois. But he's the only president born in a state outside the continental U.S. And there you go. That is your fact of the week. That one's kind of lame. I should give a better one. This one's going straight off the cuff. Do you ever wonder why Canada has a province called British Columbia? That would be because there was originally supposed to be a state in the northwest United States called Columbia. And, yeah. And last minute, they decided not to call it Columbia. And thus, that's why there's a province called British Columbia with no corresponding Columbia to go with it. How sad is that? So, look into that if you want. Here, let me pull up what the map would have looked like. Yeah, if you're wondering, by the way, if about why it's called British Columbia. Just a little FYI. I can't find the map of the original plans, but go look into that. It's a really interesting story. Anyways, that's the end of the episode. Hope you enjoyed. That is this week's episode. I don't know what next week's episode will be about, obviously. Duh. What do you think this is? Go support us on Patreon. There's new pricing. New prices. The first tier is $1, the second tier is $3, and the tier that gives you bonus content is now $3 cheaper. It is now $10 a month. With a 7-day free trial to go with it. Go support us, please. Please. Listen to us on other streaming platforms if you'd like to save on data. We're on YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify. We're on your Samsung Smart TV. That's pretty compelling, right? All right. Have a good week. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.